So today's video will begin with some great news. It's Christmas season, and in this season I will be giving out a discount on Ielts lessons. So from now till the first week of January, if you book a lesson with me between this period, I'll be giving you a special discount. So if you're interested or you know someone who might be, please send an email to drenil7@gmail.com. Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Ielts Eor, a medical doctor and a certified Ielts coach. I want to welcome you to my channel. If this is your first time, you're welcome to a great place. And if it's not your first time, like I always say, it's free. Click the red button below, subscribe, and enjoy amazing content. Alright, so today's video will begin with some great news. It's Christmas season, and in this season I will be giving out a discount on Ielts lessons. So from now till the first week of January, if you book a lesson with me between this period, I'll be giving you a special discount. So if you're interested or you know someone who might be, please send an email to drenil7@gmail.com. DRENILLS then 7@gmail.com. So let's proceed. In today's video, I'll be answering some common questions I get concerning Ielts. And in that process, I'll also enlighten you about some basic things about Ielts and just to give you a general overview of what to expect. So the first one is Ielts Mode, IDP, British Council, Cambridge. So you hear these three organizations being mentioned in connection to Ielts. For many people, they only know about British Council, like many people are aware of British Council. But here is it. So Ielts is jointly owned by British Council, IDP Ielts Australia. So again, it's called IDP Ielts Australia or MOD, M-O-D. So they are the same organization. Then the third one is Cambridge Assessment English. So is a part of Cambridge University in the UK. So the Cambridge University sets up the questions for Ielts. Then the British Council and IDP Ielts help in organizing the examinations. So they have different centers around the world. But it's the same question, there is no difference because the source is the same. But these are two different organizations. Now, this brings me to the question on which one should I take? Do I take IDP Ielts Australia or I take my Ielts with the British Council? Well, I'll tell you from my experience working with different students. So I've had many students who took their tests with British Council and they didn't get the required score. And once they took the same test with Ielts Australia, somehow they got a favorable score. Now, this happened to many people that I know. But again, there were those who got a higher score with the British Council or about the same score. But if I were to recommend personally, I would say you could try out the IDP Australia, because there's a myth in quote that the examiners, now remember that the Ielts has 4 parts: the speaking, listening, writing, and reading. Now, for writing and speaking, they are subjective because the examiners would assess you and then, they'll according to the marking scheme, they are able to grade you based on how well they thought you performed. So there's a general myth that the examiners for IDP Australia are more lenient. So, but again, it's not evidence-based. There's no proof. So, but if you have to pick one, or you've taken your tests with the British Council a number of times and you didn't get a desired score, you can try the IDP Australia, the IDP Ielts. Second question is EOR. What is EOR? EOR means enquiry on results. So this is the term used to explain or to depict remarking when you want to remark your IELTS script. So yes, it's possible to remark your IELTS script without having to take the exam again. So what are the conditions for requesting for a remark? Now, it's open to everyone. But firstly, you can only request for a remark within 6 weeks of the date of the exam. So if it's longer than 6 weeks, it's not possible anymore. So have that in mind. Secondly, you have to pay a fee for remarking. Now, how much is the fee? It varies from country to country. It could be as low as $50 US in some countries and as high as $130 in some other countries. So you pay this fee and then you apply for remarking. Now the question is, how many parts can you request for remarking? You can request for all the parts to be remarked, and you can request for just one part to be remarked. So it's up to you. But the thing is, most likely the reading and listening scores will not change because there are fixed answers for them. So it's really no point requesting for remark on reading and listening. But for speaking and writing, yes, you can request for a remark. But again, you have to look at the conditions regarding your work and see if requesting for a remark would really change anything. Now, if you apply or if you took the general IELTS exam, 0.5 can really make a difference. So in that case, probably you had a 6.0 or 6.5 in your writing test, and you feel I can actually get a 7. I think what I wrote was good enough for a 7.0, and you have looked at it and you require the 0.5, then it's reasonable to apply for a remark. But if you need to upgrade your band score, probably to move your band score from 6.0 to 7.0, then it rarely happens that way, that you get an upgrade from your whole band score changing by 1.0. So in that case, applying for a remark may not really be the best option. But here's the thing, when you apply for a remark, if your score gets upgraded, an increase in your score in any of the parts, your money gets refunded 100%. So you have to fill a form while applying for the remark, and then you fill in your bank details just in case your scores get increased. Now, how long does it take to get your scripts remarked? Usually you'll be told between 6 days to 21 days, even sometimes to 6 weeks. But in recent times, with many of my students, they get their scores, their scripts remarked in less than a week, maximum 2 weeks. So just a few days to a week or just over a week. So it's pretty fast nowadays. So if you think it's an option for you, considering your score and the purpose of your exam, then why not go for it? The third one, I get asked usually by my students, what is the duration? What is the appropriate duration for preparing for IELTS? How much time do I need? Well, it's relative, but from my experience again, if you're a native speaker, a month would be fine. For there are those who actually get ready in 2 weeks. But if you're a native English speaker, 1 month will be fine. If you prepare properly and you get all the principles and the basics for each of the parts, you're good to go in a month. Now, if you're a non-native speaker, depending on your level, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, and of course your goal, what score do you need? You need a minimum of 2 months, sometimes 3 months, even 6 months sometimes, depending on your level. So if you have a coach, someone to coach you, when they have your first session with you, they could ask you a few questions, then they can recommend how much time you require to get ready. I mean, it's better you prepare and get your desired goal, your desired score, than having to take the exam more than once. It could be psychologically draining. All right, the next question is, what is the required band score? Now, in case you're wondering what the band score is, the band score is the average. It's called the band score. Now, usually for academic, you require a band score. Now, the required band score is dependent on the purpose. There are institutions who require a band score of 7.0, 7.5, even some 5.0. So depending on the purpose of the application, the band score also varies. Now, for general, most times, the band score is not as important, but the individual scores. So again, in some institutions, you could be told a band score of probably 7.5 with a minimum of 7.0 in all the 4 parts. So look up the criteria of the institution you are applying to or the purpose of the application and get to know what is required in your situation. It really varies. Now, the final question is the computer-based test or the paper-based test. Which is better? Again, this is relative. It depends on you. Now, there are several factors to look at in making that decision. When my students have a bad handwriting and they find it difficult to improve, I recommend that they go for the computer-based test. Because your examiner, if he or she cannot read what you wrote, that's already a minus, a big negative for you. Now, the computer-based test is not as difficult as many think it is. If you're used to working on a computer, probably social media, sending emails, working on a project, then you'll be fine with the computer-based test. You don't need to be an expert to use it well. What I would recommend is that you practice computer-based questions. They are available on the internet, and see how well you perform. Then that would also help to inform your decision. Now, another advantage of the computer-based tests in the writing section is it helps you count your words automatically. So if you are using the paper-based, you need to practice enough because you will not have enough time to count how many words you've written down. For task 1 of the written part, the minimum is 150 words. For task 2, it's a minimum of 250 words. Now, you can't possibly start counting with the paper-based, but with the computer test, it counts the words automatically on the screen. So that's a big plus. Next is that with for the written part, you can always come back. Probably you're writing 4 paragraphs. Now you have an idea for paragraph 3. You can easily jump from paragraph 1 to paragraph 3 for the computer-based, and then come back again to continue from paragraph 1. You see, that's an advantage. For the paper-based, you can't do that. You have to follow it through because you can't possibly start deleting and canceling, unlike the computer-based test. So they have their advantages and disadvantages. So check them out and know which is best for you. We've come to the end of this video. So let me know if it was helpful to you. Please, I like to read your comments in the comment section. Leave a comment, let me know if you enjoyed the video, and if you have more questions or you have some additions to what I said, it'd be great to read from you. And don't forget, the promo is on from now till the first week in January. Send me an email to drenil7@gmail.com and take advantage of it. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.